You will hear me many times use the word embodiment, integration, right? What does it mean? Embodiment is king. Why embodiment integration is the most important thing? Because the only problem on this planet is just a human being that isn't embodied, right? A soul being afraid to be a full spectrum human being, right? A soul that's not fully allowing themselves to be expressed fully through this body on a full spectrum of human behavior. A soul in fear of being a full spectrum human being through this body, right? This is the only problem. This is what embodiment means. Because we mostly live in the head, right? In the head, nobody sees you, and you there can imagine anything. But once you step into the body, move with the body, and start embodying the life force that's moving the body and guiding it into a full spectrum expression of the human, then you can be seen, right? And when we were like this as children, we were rejected in that. And then we started to pretend, perform, and more live in the head where we couldn't be seen, right? Because being seen meant the potential of being rejected. So we then hide in the head because we don't want to be seen in the body. We fear being in the body, and therefore we live in dissociation, in resistance to the life force that wants to be expressed through the body, right? So we are then denying our experience apart from it, a huge part from it, and then live as this false version of self, right? As the ego, as a fearful person, a partial, dissociated person, dissociated from the rest of the life force that's giving life to this individual experience. So therefore, we need to integrate, make whole, unite again within all of the parts of ourselves, all of the version of ourselves, from the most softest, pussy-like, to the most hardcore, brutality-like, the whole spectrum of behavior of how human can be and looks like. Until we do that, we will not be sovereign and independent, right? We will not be powerful and relaxed about life. Until we do that, we will be constantly trying to prove ourselves in order to hide our inability, incapability of being us, of being whole, right? This is the problem in the planet. So the only point, the only thing you need to do in this life, it's embodiment. It's embodiment of all of parts of yourself. To live through the body, all of yourself. But you can't come to yourself through a therapy or a hypnosis, right? Through some kind of tips and tricks. It's impossible to diagnose everything that you need to integrate. So the only thing you need to do is to just surrender to life, to start loving, accepting the current moment holistically, everything that's in it, be one with it, and remain being like this for the rest of your life, where you're constantly choosing life and not fear in you, and therefore constantly leading from this intuition, where you're manifesting the life force and not rejecting it, and therefore, because of that, constantly facing life and all of the fears that you have against life, right? Because once you're constantly devoted to manifesting the life force within, choosing life, being guided by life, there will be parts that are afraid of being seen and manifested. And at that point, you just remain being open, walking fully through that fear and embodying that fear. And then by doing that, opening a portal of manifesting a new life force, the one hidden in your repression, in your dissociation, to manifest it and finally liberate it in this world. And it looks chaotic, it looks vulnerable, it looks intimate, it is fearful, but the only way to resolve it is to go through it. There is no other way. And there are no tips and tricks to process it, because you can only fully meet fear, fully opening this capability of processing your dissociated life force when fear is fully being met. And fear can only be fully met if you're leading life spontaneously, right? Only if you're spontaneously unprepared going about life, you can be surprised with life. And only when you're surprised, you will be fully shaken to the bones with fear. And therefore, you have the capability you have the possibility and the opportunity to fully meet the fear only in this way, only in this manner. It's possible to do it. There is no other way. You can't prepare yourself. You can't remove yourself from life and process it. It's impossible. You can't resist life and then through a method, therapy, tips and tricks, process it. It's impossible. Life can only be processed, fully integrated on the spot, in the moment of life. This is when the final integration can happen. Only then, only in this way, by spontaneously unprepared going about life. Because only in this way fear can be triggered, right? And only if fear is truly triggered, all of your life force can be integrated. Because if you only get triggered partially, you are not fully shaken to the bones, and so you cannot fully integrate the life force because you are actually regulating, controlling it, and therefore not achieving integration and embodiment. That's why there are no tips, tricks, methods, regulations, no modalities to life except surrender to life. This is the only state where you are fully meeting life as it is, by fully meeting fear, and you can only fully meet fear by being spontaneous with life. This is the whole reason why we prepare for life, right? Right? Because we are afraid, we're trying to keep control, to not be surprised, so we are not shaken to the bones, right? And we now have to do the opposite. This is how you live in comfort zone, but we have to step out of it. We have to start, instead of constantly living in fear and manifesting this kind of reality, start living by what life in us wants to be lived, and following and being open, dedicated to it. This is only way out of it. This is the only problem, the rejection of life, because we are constantly living all of ours underlying trauma, the rejection of ourselves, the rejection of life because we were rejected, and so now accepting it. And through acceptance of life, all of the versions of ourselves, living, being guided by God, by the life force coming from God, you actually achieve embodiment, power, relaxation, resolvement, and finally can operate as a mature, responsible being with integrity. In integrity, right? This is what integrity actually means. It means doing the integration of life force. It doesn't mean being the man that does what it says it is going to do. This is a weak integrity. The most powerful integrity and holistic integrity, integrity in the whole meaning sense of the word, is integrity not by the mind, by your energy state. Because many people say what they will do and they don't do it then, right? Because in energy they are still weak. But only once you integrate your energy, once you're energetically whole, you are working then from true integrity, according to your energy and not your mind, not your ego. So this is the integrity we need in the world. This is the only problem. And only through this, only through embodiment, you recognize your value, you resolve your distortions, and become a harmonious being that can share this planet with others without any racism, without any war, without any domination, but actually with cooperation and with help, with giving to the relationship and not taking from the relationship, right? Only once you're whole, you can pour into the other. That's it. This is the only problem on the planet. It's integrity, embodiment. And this is the only way to achieve it. My school constantly speaks about it. Check any of my videos. I explained exactly this. How to achieve embodiment integrity is one and the same thing. How to function from it. And proving constantly that this is the only way. Because in order to integrate parts of yourself, you need to meet fear fully, and you can only meet fear fully by leading a spontaneous life, being unprepared and surprised in the next moment. That's it.